Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 0 of our newest show, the Untitled Anime Show, because we couldn't come up with a name. That is literally the best we'd come up with. I am your host, the Razgrees, with my co-host from the Mount Moon Review podcast, the Blue Duck Gold Duck, and our newest member to the Mount Moon crew, Sadar, as we're going to give you our thoughts and processes of anime that is coming out each and every month, as well as shows that we grew up with. And quite frankly, folks, we get to show you how old we actually are. How is you are, but you're not as old as us. And
speak for yourself.
I don't want to hear it. You're the oldest one here. Yeah, that's right. Don't you look up at the sky. You're the oldest one here. So with episode 0, we wanted to give everybody just a quick synopsis of basically who we are, what kind of animes we like, and what you're going to see going forward on the Untitled Anime Show. So let's start with Duck. Duck, what anime did you grow up with? What got you into anime to begin with? Not just like I'm watching it now on Crunchyroll, but growing up, what was the first anime you ever really got into?
The first anime I can remember is Dragon Ball Z. Staying up till midnight to watch it on, I believe it was either Adult Swim or Toonami back then.
I think it was pretty much one and the same, wasn't it? Adult Swim was maybe. Toonami, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
So, and what anime are you into now that you have to religiously watch anytime you get an opportunity?
My Hero Academia now.
My Hero Academia. I think we all watch My Hero Academia.
That's actually one that brought us together, yeah. I think my favorite completed anime is Naruto, though.
Yeah, we were talking about which series you're into, so that we can try to recommend stuff for you, so we can decide what shows we're going to review. And Naruto was the one that you came up with, and that started out as a serial in the Shonen Jump mangas that come out serialized there in Japan. And like a lot of our popular animes that started out there, and Dragon Ball Z was one of them. So that's a great thing. Sadar, what about you? What was your first real anime?
I grew up with Sailor Moon, so I remember getting up half an hour early before getting ready for school every morning so I could watch the latest rerun of Sailor Moon. And then as I got older, I continued to watch Sailor Moon, but then I had to rush home from middle school because Sailor Moon started the same time my school let out. So I ran home as quickly as I could to watch the last 20 minutes of every episode.
At least you got it somehow. I remember when Sailor Moon was airing on a Cartoon Network, it was in the afternoons, and they had a whole block there in the afternoon. It was just anime. And I remember you could get home from school just in time to watch Sailor Moon, followed by Dragon Ball Z. And everybody and their mother, when we were at that middle school, high school age, was in the Dragon Ball Z. Everybody loved Dragon Ball Z. Why? I don't know, because to this day, I still think it's one of the most annoying animes in creation.
I've gotten older, I've come to realize that as well.
But there's a lot that goes into it. Me personally, I remember growing up and just before kindergarten, so I was like 4 and 5 years old, I was getting up before the sun came up to watch Voltron. And that was the thing. It was on. I have never remembered the channel. I just remember if I got up, if the sun wasn't up yet, if I ran downstairs and I got on the TV and I hunted around, I could usually find Voltron at some point before the sun came up. And that was my biggest thing was Voltron. And then when you had that big gap where you had series that would pop up, and I actually saw a lot more movies than I did series. I remember we had some weird channels because when satellite was first coming out, my grandparents had satellite, and I remember watching Project A-ko, which was a really strange one that most people aren't familiar with, and that was from the late 80s, early 90s. But then in middle school and high school, similar to Sadar, we had that block where Cartoon Network was showing anime, and they'd show new stuff occasionally, and some stuff they tried to pass off as anime. But Voltron was my jam. That was the first one, and that was the one I was really into. But now, the three of us, we consume a lot of the anime products. The three of us every week religiously, I believe, watch My Hero Academia. I believe Sadar and I have both seen, but you have not seen yet, the latest movie from My Hero.
I have not.
Very good flick. Very good flick. What'd you think of it, Sadar?
I thought it was good. I enjoyed that they gave each character in Class 1A an opportunity to really shine in the movie. I was less impressed with how they wrapped up the story at the end. I mean, it was a good ending. It was just kind of,
Ex Machina.
yeah, phoned in at the end.
Yeah, it was a little ex machina of an ending, but all in all, I really enjoyed it. You had some character development from characters you don't really see a whole lot of, which was
Yeah.
cool. I really like seeing that, and it will incorporate into the story for those of you that are on the fence with it, but you won't need it. So,
Hmm.
because at the end,
Is it considered canon?
most movies aren't, and a lot of people don't realize that. It was with
Yeah.
anime, most of your movies and your OVAs, which are typically 3 episode arcs that are not meant uh, to be aired on television. Typically, they're not canon. Essentially, if it airs on TV, it's canon. And if the series ends and they go to a movie, then that's typically canon as well.
That's the case with Naruto.
Yeah,
Every Naruto movie isn't canon except the last one.
yeah. Like with we've spoken about a couple times now Dragon Ball Z. None of the movies from Dragon Ball Z are considered canon.
Yeah.
None of them, and it's just because they're made as a one-off. As the fans will enjoy this, we'll make that, then we'll give it to them, and then we'll forget it ever existed. Maybe we'll bring back the characters for a video game, and then you'll have that nod, and people will be very happy to have it, and like, oh yes, this character, yay, it's my favorite. But there's other series out there that come out with what we call OVAs, original video animations, that are not meant to be canon because they're never going to be airing on television, and they have a lot more freedom with those. For example, the Black Butler series. After the series ended after 2 seasons, they still came out with other OVAs, and they had similar names like Book of Circus. And they are ones that are distributed digitally or on disc, and they have a lot more freedom with them. So they can do things. They can push the envelope with language and violence and stuff of that nature. So you'll see that a lot of times with the OVAs, but again, they're almost never canon. So we are going to be doing things on this show such as reviewing anime, talking about things that are happening in anime, and maybe for the most part we're going to stick to our rating systems that we're coming up with, which we're going to be doing here on the show, as well as talking about some things that maybe happen in news, such as certain countries looking to ban anime outright. And there's a lot of cultural differences and people don't understand things and they will look for things to blame, and anime is usually a good thing to blame it on. But we haven't talked a whole lot. We have watched one series entirely that we're going to review, and that's going to be for episode 1. But what series would you guys like to see going forward for different shows that we can try to review here on the show? Sadar, what shows would you like us to do?
Well, I love my isekai, so I'm pretty much happy with any isekai that we want to review. But I really, really enjoyed the recent. It's not brand new, but it's semi-recent addition to the different streaming services, Dr. Stone.
Yeah.
And I loved watching that with my kids. In fact, we made the Dr. Stone soda a few weeks ago, and I have to say it wasn't bad. It really was drinkable.
It was utterly drinkable, folks.
It was liquid.
Well, I kind of we took some pictures along the way, but I kind of regret not recording any of the process because it was a lot of fun. The kids really got into it, and we had a good time.
For science.
For science.
For science. And maybe that's some things we can recreate your experiment and in the spirit of Dr. Stone and improve upon it for science. For science. Duck, how about you? What series would you like to see us review?
I think we should review Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Back to Nickelodeon stuff again?
Yes. Hey, we can go to Cartoon Network stuff, but we can't go to Nickelodeon stuff?
I would if it was actually anime, and we could have that discussion here on the show.
I understand that it was not, animated in Japan, or it doesn't actually fall into the exact definition, but I think it is honorable enough to get a review on this show. So that's my goal before the end, is that we will review Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Well, there's
Even though it's not an anime.
a
Well,
lot.
I think we'd have an easier time convincing anybody, myself included, that Ruby is an anime before we ever convinced anyone that The Last Airbender is an anime.
I'd be fine reviewing Ruby as well. I've seen it in its entirety.
Well, you haven't seen its entirety. It's not over yet.
Well, yeah, I've seen everything that's out.
Don't get catty.
I'll get catty all I want. This is my show. This is a Mount Moon Crew production. I'll get as catty as I want. And just fair warning, folks, because anime very rarely is PG. So on this show, that's out the window. We are not going to be PG. So you may hear some things. You may see some things. And there are certain shows that I want to review that are probably not going to fit into the guise of the PG format that we've used for the Mount Moon Review podcast.
I'm PG.
Duck's
Mostly.
PG. Yeah, Duck's PG. Me, not so much. Sadar, oh my God, if you heard this girl cuss. Anyway.
I just want to say that I would be willing to record and just enjoy watching Duck watch. Oh my gosh, I just lost the name of it. Not Konosuba.
Konosuba's awesome.
Well, Konosuba's awesome, but I don't want to watch Duck watch that. I want to watch Duck watch the anime. Oh gosh, is Shimonetta?
Shimonetta.
I've heard of
Yes.
Shimonetta. Yes, and that is gonna be on my list of things that we're gonna watch. Is the series Shimonetta. This is a world where dirty jokes are illegal. So nobody knows what a dirty joke is anymore. And guess what, folks? There's plenty of them. Some of the dirtiest of jokes. And it is an awesome show, and I think everyone should watch that show at least once, including Duck. But I agree. I would love to see the shades of red Duck will turn with Shimonetta. It will be delightful. But other shows I want to see us do the Saga of Tanya the Evil. I want to see us do Konosuba. There's
Isekai!
Yes, any kind of isekai would make Sadar very, very happy. For those of you that are not familiar with the genre, isekais are essentially loosely translated, meaning from another world. So it's essentially the character finds himself going from Japan to this fantasy world of some kind.
Oh,
I wouldn't really call it the world Tanya's in a fantasy world, but close enough.
I thought you were just calling it. When you described that definition to me, I thought it just meant it's in a place that's not Earth.
Mm-mm.
Oh no, typically it is. It's just, or it could be
but it's somebody from one world who is introduced to another world.
Yes.
Yes, that's exactly what it means.
Narnia, not.
Yes, there you go. It's the Narnia animes.
Got it.
Although sometimes the people from Japan have to die to go to the other world.
Right. No, like that's what I'm saying. They are from Japan and they go to another world. They didn't just exist in this world.
Correct.
It's not Pokemon because that's in the Pokemon world, but all the characters are from that world. It's Narnia because they went from one world to another world.
Exactly. Now you're understanding, Doug. Now you're understanding. And there's a great series that are put out by Katakawa that are Saga of Tanya the Evil, Overlord, ReZero, and I'm blanking on the fourth one. Oh, Konosuba. And then later instances, Rising of the Shield Hero. And they've taken the characters from all those and they put them into a chibi special called Isekai Quartet. Very funny. It's a lot of characters as you wouldn't see. They're out of context in this format. It's a great show. I love them. But these are all shows that are going to be available. We're going to make sure the ones that we review are ones that you can watch through nominal streaming services such as Funimation Now or Crunchyroll. So anything that you want to see us review, put out there. Maybe it's something we haven't watched yet. Me personally, it's going to be very difficult, but you may find something I haven't seen yet. Duck is he's a babe in the woods right now, so hopefully we can find some stuff, and he's going to be the wide-eyed one at the end, thinking, what have I got myself into?
If it wasn't on Netflix or Cartoon Network, I probably haven't seen it.
So that is pretty much what you can look forward to here on the Untitled Anime Show. And no, I'm not changing the name. I like it. Is the Untitled Anime Show. It will remain the Untitled Anime Show. And that's just the way it is. You guys had your opportunity to try to come up with names, and you didn't do any better, so you just got stuck with what I picked. So,
Okay.
yeah, you're stuck. Just live with it.
I
So,
like the name.
I like the name too. So I want to thank everybody for watching this intro video on what to expect, and hopefully here in the next couple of weeks we're going to start cranking out some videos for you. And you're
Can
going
we
to
tell them what we're gonna review? That way they can watch it.
I think Sadar should probably tell them about it and give us a quick synopsis on what it's going to be. Sadar.
Our first video is going to be a review of the first season of Overlord, an isekai. Who saw that coming?
Who saw that
it's-
coming?
I don't know. In true isekai fashion, it follows a average working person who gets isekai'd and wakes up incredibly overpowered in a fantasy world.
Which, as is their custom. And I do love that the trend that we're seeing in a lot of the izekais. There's one in particular that is, I can't remember the exact title, so bear with me. It's, I thought I said to make my abilities average in the next life. And when the character is given this, the overview of what happened and why they're in the situation they're in, they'll say, she actually says, well, went and got myself isekai'd.
There was also that reference in How Not to Summon a Demon Lord.
Yes, there is. And that is another very good one. And a lot of these series are just single season shows, too, so they'll be easy to follow along. But Sadar, being the newest member of the Mount Moon crew, got to pick what we're going to do for episode 1. So, again, we're going to do Overlord Season 1. And we will give that review up, and hopefully you'll see how we're going to be rating our shows, and what shows I like, what shows Sadar likes, what shows Duck likes. And you can then base your decisions on what we like, what you should see. So thank you very much for watching, and we're going to see you all in the near future.